Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's schmooze. All right. Did you ever hear about this 94-year-old woman, Opal Lee? Have you heard about her?
No,
I didn't know anything about her until I read that she was next to President Biden when he signed had the ceremony signing Juneteenth as a national holiday. Now, let me tell you a little bit about this lady. There she is right there, standing next to President Biden as he signed the documentation to make Juneteenth a national holiday. Lee grew up in Marshall and Fort Worth, Texas. She celebrated Juneteenth every year. And on Juneteenth in 1939, when she was 12 years old, a white mob raided and burned down her family's home. During his speech before the signing, Biden asked the audience to give Opal Lee, who was seated in the front row, a standing ovation. He got down on one knee as Vice President Kamala Harris introduced her, saying, "You are an incredible woman," and gave Lee the pen he used to sign the bill into law. Now, wow. Lee told reporters after Congress passed the bill on Wednesday, "I'm so delighted to know that finally we have got Juneteenth bill passed, and now we can all finally celebrate the whole country together." Now, for the two people out in the world who don't know what Juneteenth is, it is often referred to as Freedom Day or Emancipation Day. We're celebrating June 19th, 1865, when Union soldiers arrived in Galveston, Texas, and announced to the slaves that were still working in the plantation fields that slavery is now over, you are free. And these were the last slaves, the last enslaved people in America to find out that they were free, and this was months and months after the end of the Civil War. Unfortunately, in the 1860s, there was no internet and no telephone. So Juneteenth has been celebrated by Opal Lee for almost her entire life. Now, at the age of 89, remember, she's 94 years old.
Wow.
Opal Lee decided her new life mission was to spread the word about Juneteenth to everybody. And she figured the best way to do it was to help get Juneteenth accepted as a national holiday. So in 2016, Opal decided to start with a walking campaign. And she walked 1,400 miles from her home in Fort Worth, Texas, as an 89-year-old woman to Washington, D.C. to bring awareness and support to make Juneteenth a federal holiday.
From Texas to Washington, you said, Brad?
1,400 miles.
Wow.
I am 52 years old, and I would not be able to do that walk. She's 89 years old. It took her several weeks. Lee arrived in cities where she was invited to speak. So during this walk, she's giving speeches.
Wow.
And she walked 2.5 miles to symbolize the 2.5 years that it took in several cities, she would walk 2.5 miles before her speech as a symbol for the 2.5 years that it took for enslaved people in Texas to learn that they were free. Now, the Emancipation Proclamation was several years before. The end of the Civil War was in 3 months. She said, "I was thinking that surely somebody would see a little old lady in tennis shoes trying to get Congress to notice to pass this law." Now, since then, Opal Lee has become known as the Grandmother of Juneteenth. Her annual walks culminated in a trip to the Capitol in September, carrying a petition signed by 1.5 million Americans, urging Congress to pass legislation to make Juneteenth a federal holiday. She went year after year, was never successful. But undeterred, she returned again in February as a new version of the Juneteenth National Independence Day Act was introduced. Now, she is the grandmother the face of Juneteenth, I want to just say a couple of technicalities, okay, about the holiday. All right? There is no such thing as a national holiday because the president and Congress can never assert power to declare a holiday that binds all 50 states to have a national holiday. So, in fact, there are no national holidays in the United States of America. Instead, what the United States of America can do, which is what they did here, is they can declare Juneteenth a federal holiday, which is different than a national holiday. And when they declare Juneteenth a national holiday, federal employees are all given the day paid off. Now, there are only 10 federal recognized holidays throughout the entire calendar year. The last time a federal holiday was put onto the calendar was 1983. That's how far we go back before they added a federal holiday before this. It was Ronald Reagan, Martin Luther King Jr. Day.
Oh, wow. That was the
last federal holiday given. So, now, going back to Opal Lee, she said this year, the annual 2.5-mile walk is going to be national, in addition to the Fort Worth event. Organizers in Houston, Los Angeles, Atlanta, New York, and other cities have set up walks to commemorate the day. So there's going to be 2.5-mile walks everywhere on Juneteenth in commemoration of Juneteenth, in support of Juneteenth, in recognition of the 2.5 years it took for the enslaved people in Texas to learn they were free, and in recognition also of Opal Lee, who was walking these 2.5 miles within cities during her walk before she would give her speeches. She would walk 2.5 miles to the speech. Now, with every step, Lee said she prays and she gives thanks. And she says, I'll be thinking of my ancestors. I'll be thinking about my great-great-grandchildren and my grandchildren and my children. So that is really a very touching story. Almost brings me to tears a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, honestly, like you well up a little bit. You think, what she did. Pretty good.
Yeah.
And you know what's so beautiful about it is, of course she did it for her too, but she really did it for the people to come, the generations to come. It's almost selfless. She's dedicated her life to this, and for her to be so happy, it's not like, other people would be like, oh, this, when I'm 94, now they're doing this, I can't even enjoy it really, but she's doing it for generations to come, and that's what's so beautiful about it.
How do you walk at 89, 1,400 miles? How's that even possible?
You have to be really passionate about something.
And you got to be in really good shape at 89, too.
You do.
And you got to have 100% your mind and 100% your body.
Yeah.
To be able to do that and be the grandmother of Juneteenth at 89 years old?
She deserves it.
Wow. Meanwhile, Essence Magazine has compiled a list of Juneteenth events happening all over the country. You can go to essence.com and search Juneteenth to see what celebrations are going on in your area. And, the other thing I would say, and maybe we'll talk about this another day, but I think Colin Kaepernick also has a lot to do with this, too. I mean, not necessarily Juneteenth, but, here's a guy who in the around 2015 started taking a knee when nobody else was taking a knee.
Right.
And, he did okay for himself in the end because he has a lot of endorsements from Nike and everything. But at the time, he risked his entire career for something that he believed in. He brought prominence to the Black Lives Matters movement that may not have been there before, obviously culminating, in the death of George Floyd in Minneapolis. But still, he was doing it when nobody was.
Yeah.
I look back in the history and I say, what would have happened had he not started taking that knee? I don't know.
I don't know if the conversation would be as loud as it is.
Yeah. Meanwhile, going to some other happy Friday news, Yo-Yo and Vanessa?
Yes.
We're staying in the octogenarian stories today, I guess. Here's a story of 3 women, Ruth Schwartz, Lorraine Pirrello, and Edith Mitzie Moscow. They've been best friends forever, They all turned 100 years old within days of each other.
Oh.
3 best friends for life, all born around June 1921, the same month Babe Ruth broke the career home run record in Major League Baseball. All born in that same month in Manhattan, best friends for life, all lived to 100.
That's
Oh
amazing.
my God.
Isn't that such a great story, too?
Oh,
Share this
I love that.
Right? Wouldn't you love to have your besties at 100?
Yes.
I'm sending my friends this story.
Yeah. Now, Ruth Schwartz says she never thought, I'm quoting her, I never thought I'd reach this moment, but the years kind of crept up on me, and here I am. Her birthday was on Tuesday, 3 days after Moscow's and 3 days before Pirrello's. And they have been attending a series of birthday parties thrown for them by friends and family. Now, Lorraine Pirrello, who along with Schwartz in Moscow has been fully vaccinated against COVID, said, during the time of the pandemic, they were stuck indoors. I used to only have my meals in my room. I didn't like it, but now I've got my independence back.
Oh.
Yeah, she was an opera singer at the Met. She was treated to a birthday lunch at Carmine's attended by friends from the New York tennis circuit. Pirrello was into her 90s before she hung up her tennis racket. So here's another very active woman playing tennis into her 90s.
Jeez.
Switching her interests to bridge. She credits her longevity to pursuing her passion. Almost kind of like Opal.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's a real good lesson from all of these ladies to all of our squad and ourselves and our crew on how to live a good, long life.
You know what else I love about that picture? One of them with their champagne glass. That's how you know they can enjoy a good time.
I mean, they're in good shape. They're picking up the champagne and everything.
I love it.
I would love to live to 100 as long as I'm in good shape. I wouldn't want to live to 100 and not be in good shape.
Got 50 years, Brad.
That's
Figure
right.
it out.
That's right. If you think about it, in both stories, the one thing that all these women had in common is they had passion for something, and they maintained their activities, their mind, and their bodies. Now Edith Moscow, she gives her formula. She says she's making the best of each day. She's a retired manager who worked in the office of her husband, an attorney, for most of her life. She said she feels wonderful about turning 100. She says, I'm very happy I made it this far. And referencing coronavirus, she says, I'm very fortunate to have skipped over all the sickness to have survived. Now talking about Ruth Schwartz, the pandemic separated Ruth Schwartz from her son Andrew for nearly 2 years, and that estrangement ended on Saturday because now they're all vaccinated. And when Ruth Schwartz is not partying, she keeps herself busy attending all that New York offers. Operas, lectures, outdoor concerts. She says she has her mind and her health. Very nice.
I love it.
Yes. And finally, did you ever hear about this guy, Rob Kenney?
No.
He has a YouTube channel. It's entitled Dad, How Do I? And it went viral in May last year. He started it during the pandemic, never having done any YouTube before. He now has over 1 million subscribers.
Wow.
Over 1 million subscribers in less than a year on YouTube. Dad, How Do I? Which goes to show, squad, subscribe to YouTube.
We have these conversations all the time, especially in what we do, right? It's like there's a niche and there's an audience for everything.
That is right.
When you really think about this, honestly, and it's whatever, like a lot of people don't have a father figure, like a true father figure. And it's available on YouTube.
Exactly.
I'm actually on his page right now. He actually has 3.43 million subscribers.
Wow.
And only 85 videos.
Wow. Let me tell you about him. It's a good Father's Day story. He released his first video shortly after we had our lockdowns in the pandemic. He wanted to provide some practical advice to people, how to fix a toilet, and emotional support that he's proud of you. Now, he expected to have only 30 or 40 subscribers. He passed his first million in 2 months. Now, the seeds for his video were planted during his childhood. Let's watch a video of him first.
So this is considered a round toilet seat. So I'm going to show you how to remove this one, or at least this style. So again, when you're picking out your toilet seat, you just want to make sure you're picking out the...
And I think we have one other one with his car.
Red to the dead. Okay, this battery's dead. There's really nothing going on. This is just sitting here. Okay, we're going to go over to the other car, the car with the good battery.
He's really like a dad.
He's like a dad, right. So let me tell you how it all started. it started going back to his childhood. He's 57 years old now. But when his parents divorced, his dad gained custody and his mom was legally declared unfit to raise him. His mother was an alcoholic. Kenney, who is 7 of 8 children and was 14 years at the time when his father drove away and said, I'm done raising kids.
Jeez.
So he didn't have a mother or then a father. He ended up living with an older sibling who raised him. So now he got married, he has his own children, and Kenney's family supported the idea of his YouTube channel when he first mentioned it, but he didn't materialize until a few years later when he had more free time during the lockdowns. Amid what Kenney calls a perfect storm of his backstory, lending him authenticity, and the pandemic heightening the need for such content, his channel now has, you're correct, Yo-Yo, 3.5 million subscribers, 15 million views on less than 100 videos. He's releasing a book, Dad, How Do I? It was released May 18th, and he's talked to networks about a potential television show. So for decades, Kenney didn't look forward to Father's Day because he had no interest in honoring his dad, but then he had kids of his own and later forgave his parents, and last Father's Day, his followers mailed him scores of cards thanking him for being an amazing father figure to them, to those people who don't have fathers. And what a transformation that is as well.
I love that.
Yeah, is it a beautiful story?
Yeah.
No trifling story.
We like our Friday stories today, right?
It makes you feel nice and warm.
Yeah, I feel very warm and cozy and cuddly right now. And that was a much better story than wishing the Sperminator Happy Father's Day, right?
Lord, that guy.
Remember this guy, the Sperminator from Wednesday. It's just funny the name.
After you talk about this father, it's just kind of like, look at him.
Look at the name. It just makes me laugh.
It's
the Sperminator.
It's the beach picture for me. It's the beach picture for me. Like I just the beach picture, and I just need like Sperminator, like right across.
Send that picture to your friends too, if anybody wants to get pregnant. Say, I know this guy. If you're looking to have a baby, it's called the Sperminator.
He's willing and able.
He's willing and able. Thanks for watching. For more Bradshaw Live, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.